Hey, thanks for dropping by the Smart Woodshop. Today's project, I'm cutting all the parts for another workbench. I'm Paulk, and this is the Smart Woodshop. If you want to get a set of plans to build any of my benches or the Smart Woodshop for yourself, link in the description down below. I'm cutting two identical sides for this workbench using a carefully made pattern, so I get these beautiful cutouts and every one is identical using the pattern and a router with the bushing. I'm using this Primcore birch ply. This is that white birch that is so lightweight, 49 pounds for a 4x8, 18 millimeter thick sheet. And it's just absolutely amazing. I can't wait to finish this 3/4 inch thick bench and see what it weighs as compared to my typical 1/2 inch thick benches. Hang out while I cut out these 3 openings. Take notice of the router technique. It's the same no matter what pattern you're using. Notice that I'm using a vacuum on the router, but I have another vacuum that I kind of clean up in between, so that after I make the main cut, I'll clean up and then I'll do a cleanup cut. And I'm also just using a standard shop vac plugged into the wall, but I have one of these fast cap remote starts. So the trigger is in the wall plugged in and the vacuum is plugged into that. Of course, the vacuum is turned on. And then there is a wireless remote that I've got Velcroed to the end of the hose. I can turn it on and off right from the hose without running over to the vacuum. I've eliminated an entire sheet of plywood from this workbench design without giving up any workbench. So I went from 4 sheets to 3 sheets of 18 millimeter, and that's it. This is the bench here, all the cut parts. So I've got my sawhorses, I've got my spreaders, and I've got my sides. I have the top and the bottom. And then this is the spreader shelf. This is the one piece I haven't cut yet. I have a pattern for that. What I'm going to do is hold off on cutting that one because I want to set up the sawhorses and then test fit the pattern, because I've been chasing this one a little bit here, a little bit there. I want to get it just right. This should be very, very close, but I'd rather adjust the pattern or make a new pattern before I cut up my spreader shelf and find out that it's not quite right. Finally, I have the pattern to cut the slots on the bottom of the workbench where the sawhorse hinges index up into, and I'll do this after I assemble the bench. This is all the fall off, so I'm saving everything that I cut away so that I can see how much material is left over. Some nice pieces here. In fact, these 2 pieces here are, one piece is enough to make one of my router fences, and then the shorter pieces and these cutouts from the middles, my bench biscuits that I'm making, I can save those for that. What's going to be interesting is I'm starting with 3 sheets, but what am I going to end up with is actually making the bench. So I'll have my whole stack of all the fall away I'm going to get from the spreader shelf. Of course, I won't have the 20 millimeter holes because those are turned into sawdust, and of course all the routing, all of that sawdust. So it'll be interesting. I'm wondering, is it a sheet and a half, a sheet and a quarter? Is it 2 full sheets? I don't really know. But what I do know is that one sheet weighs 49 pounds. I thought it weighed 51 when I weighed it on the bath scale, but I have since got the spec sheet on this material and have found out that it's 49 pounds. So the bath scale didn't do too bad. The white birch 1/2 inch or 12 millimeter that I weighed, that weighed more, it weighed 52.5, and I had weighed the 18, and on the scale it had weighed 51. So I chose to try to build a bench out of the 18 millimeter and see what I think, and to weigh it. But I found out that the 12 millimeter white birch, I got them both from the same place, but I found out from talking to Primcore and looking at their specs that that wasn't their product. Yes, it was white birch. Yes, it looked very similar, but it wasn't their product. Primcore's Primcore Plus 12 millimeter weighs 34 pounds. So if I'd have known that and I could have gotten some of that, I might still make the bench out of 12 because it'd be that much lighter. But I'm already this far along. I want to test this out and prototyping, working to improve. So I'm going to see how that works out. Maybe the extra weight won't make that much of a difference, and maybe I'll get some stiffness that I might not be able to get from 1/2 inch or from 12 millimeter. We'll see. I ordered some of the 12 millimeter Primcore Pro, so it might be interesting to build the bench out of 18 and build the bench out of 12 and compare the weight difference and look at the stiffness differences. But if nothing else, it'll get me a chance to actually try the material out. So that is the 18 millimeter, and the 12 millimeter, according to the spec, is lighter than the ultralight I was using before. And they're not pushing it out as branding it light, it's just lighter. So I'm finding out more and more, but what I have to say about this, and I kind of said it before, I'm really loving working with this. It cuts and mills and screw holes. It's got a great holding power. I'm not finding any voids. It's just, and the surface, the birch, it's definitely thicker than the Moreland I was using. So when I would do just a light sanding on the Moreland, I'd start to get that, the filler they use, the pink filler glue material would start to kind of show through. So I had to be real careful with that. It didn't bug me as much because it was so light and it was such a nice material. But of course it went away, so I had to find something else. And I stumbled onto this. I've been looking for lots of different things and lots of viewer recommendations. I just haven't been able to get my hands on different stuff. And it was time to build a bench. And so I just went to Windsor Ply, my local store here, and they offered this up. And when I carried it to the shop, it's how I found out that it was so light, and I was so impressed with it. So again, I'm real excited about this Primcore Pro birch. They also make a maple. So I ordered a piece of maple because I want to look at it, and then the 12 mil. I got a couple of different their products. They're really proud of their stuff, and they've been around since I think about 75. So they're not new to this. And so the mills they use, the glues, the way they spec it up, they're really proud of producing a real high-end product. And from talking to the sales technical people, that this is 18 mil. They have a 19 mil, which is a full 3/4, and that's their premium product. So I have a piece of that coming so I can look at it as well. So I said, wait a minute, this is premium. I'm finding this stuff to be beautiful. Because no, that's great stuff. It's real high quality, but our premium is the 19 mil. So that'll be interesting to find this out. So this whole chasing plywood, figuring out the right stuff, it's been a head scratcher. I've gone into other stores, the big box stores particularly, and they've never had any plywood. I've pawed through it and looked at it, and the big box stores, as far as I can tell, don't care. Maybe different ones in different regions, maybe they're regional as well, but at least in my region, they don't carry any plywoods that, as far as cabinet grade type finished plywoods or AC plywoods that I would use. Everything was kind of rough on the surface, and the edges are kind of banged up and voids. Again, I haven't bought any and cut it up. I'm just looking at it and lifting it up, and just nothing that I was interested in pursuing. So then chasing around the different lumber yards, lumber yards have deals, I guess, with suppliers, distributors, And so these big companies that make this stuff, they don't sell it to guys like me. They sell it, not even unit, they sell multiple units to a single client, like a store, maybe a distribution outlet that has a bunch of stores, a bunch of lumber yards that buy from them. So that's where this stuff all goes. So we're kind of at the mercy, whatever region you're in that I'm in, we're at the mercy of the distribution system. We may find something, somebody may tell me something that's in New Jersey and how they love it, or in Florida, and I would have, there's a good chance I wouldn't have any access to it. This stuff's going to be limited as well to the regions. I do know that they're not just the West Coast. They are the West Coast, so they're available there, which is a big chunk. Texas, they said they're down in Texas, so I would assume, around, states around Texas maybe as well. Again, I'm just talking off the top of my head. I have asked them to send me a vendor list so that I'll have the addresses, and I'll make a video and talk about that so I can tell you where you can get it. And I'm not sure, but I think you might have mentioned that they were on the East Coast as well. So, and Hawaii. That was a big one. I said, can you get it in Hawaii? I said, oh yeah, we're in distribution in Hawaii. So these guys have a good distribution. So if you can't get it in your area, this might be the kind of product that you contact your local stores or find out who the distributor is and contact them and say, hey, I've been looking at this Primcore Plus and I'd really like to get it. I think it's a great product, and maybe they can hook up and get it into the system in your area. If you like these sort of informal drop in the shop, see what I'm doing videos, then in the comments let me know, hey, we like to see what you're doing, even if there's not a specific beginning to end project. And give me a thumbs up and subscribe. And remember, when you subscribe, ring that bell so you'll know when I put up one of these videos. Thanks for dropping into the Smart Woodshop. You stay safe and have a great day.